to play against a pusher in tennis. I got a call from one of my students a few years ago, and I still kind of give him crap about it to this day, but he calls me up after a tournament and he says, hey, he goes, I lost in the semis. And I'm like, okay, we got pretty far. And he was in a champ tournament at San Antonio. And I'm like, all right, well, that's a good job. What did you do right? What did you do wrong? What do you think that what you can improve on? And he goes, I lost because I played this idiot pusher, this guy who couldn't play tennis, and he sucked. So I kind of laughing on the phone for a second, and I said, could you let me know, why would you say that about somebody? He goes, well, the guy sucked. He goes, all he did was just lob the ball. And I said, so you're telling me you couldn't beat somebody that just lobbed the ball? He goes, well, he was like, I tried to, and I tried to put the ball away, but I kept missing. I kept missing and missing and missing. So, I asked him again, I said, so, are you really that upset that you lost to this player? He goes, yeah. He goes, I shouldn't have lost. So I had him explain to me more in detail why he thought he should have won. And most people go through this, and when they do lessons, and you really find the pushers to be, how should I say this? Pushers are, I guess, I don't want to say classified or categorized, but typically people who really don't have, the form or the skill. And we recognize that because we take lessons, or we're doing clinics, and we know what form is supposed to look like when we see a quote-unquote good tennis player. But yet we lose to these people. Now, not every pusher, they don't not do lessons. I mean, I have plenty of players in my program that, I teach them. That's part of level 1 consistency, is to be able to get the ball back in, and we'll talk about that in a different video. But so he was really upset, and he basically what he was saying, he's making fun of this guy for knowing how to win, and that's what this whole thing's about. Pushers know how to win. To call somebody a pusher is really calling somebody extremely smart. They don't need to hit the ball hard against you if they're gonna win 6-1, 6-1. I believe that's what his score was at one time, was like 1-1 or something crazy. What happened is he got frustrated. Started missing a lot of shots, and just said, you know what, I'm done. I'm not gonna try because this guy really sucks. And a lot of players have that mindset. They really have that mindset with, I don't want to play with people who I perceive as lower skilled because I'm better, because I'm doing lessons. And that's not it. I mean, it's that person is better than you are. That person is getting the ball in longer, keeping the ball in longer than you are, and you're trying to put the ball away, which is a good tactic to do. You're just not good at it. Therefore, you become frustrated, and you break down and you lose. So you got to keep that in mind when you're playing pushers. You can't come off the court and say, that person really does suck, or that person has no form. Look, you lost. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they lob the ball 40 feet into the air and you lost. It doesn't matter. You lost the match, and you figure out what you need to do. And typically the answer to how to beat pushers, I'll go on more in depth about this in another video, but is learning to find the short ball and coming in to the net. I mean, and really making a good approach shot. I mean, that's one way of doing it. Look, and at the end of the day, if you play a pusher and you recognize that this person's just going to get the ball in every single time, and you try to do that against them, you're playing their game. They're gonna out-hit you. Another example is I work with the ladies team, and they played a player, and she's not from our area, and all this woman did was just get the ball and play. There's nothing special about her, and she just got it in, and she wins a lot. And she's extremely smart for understanding that, and that's the difference. Again, she knows how to win matches, and for the most part, she probably just gets under everybody's skin, and she really just frustrates the hell out of players, and she wins. Now, I am going to say this about people who are, labeled as pushers, or, when you run into those kinds of players, I am going to say this about them. Those players will hit a wall. And what I mean by hitting a wall is they're only going to get so far. So let's say you have a 3-0, maybe a 3-5 recreation player that's all they do. That's all they do. That's how they win every single match. They just get the ball in, get the ball in, get the ball in. And you got to stop and take a step back and understand that at a higher level of tennis, I mean, as high as levels it goes, when you watch the pros play, you never see that. You may see their version of a pusher in the pros, but we don't see it that way. We see it as, these guys are, and these girls are really banging the ball hard. They're going to hit a wall. That wall means that when they play people who just are better mentally and strategically, they're going to put the ball away a lot sooner. And that's something that you're trying to work towards when you play players like that. Again, one of the problems is that you're just not experienced enough or patient enough to understand that. And some people think they are. They always say, oh yeah, well, I know I'm going to be patient, I'm going to wait for the kill, and people get frustrated, and then it goes down the drain. But those players will hit a wall. Now, is it good to play, or is it good to become a pusher? Like, do you weigh on one side and say, okay, I am not a pusher, I'm getting beat by pushers, should I become a pusher? In other words, should I become consistent? Well, the simple answer is yes. And again, it really does. It's funny when I hear people say pusher, because it's almost like a defense thing. It's almost like, hey, I don't want anybody to know that I really suck, so I'm going to call that person a pusher, and just so it makes me feel better. And that's honestly what people do. And I hear it way more in kids than I do with adults, but essentially, that's that's how you deal with them. I mean, you got to get to that point. You got to get to a level where you're comfortable playing them, and you're not going to get frustrated. And I think that's a huge point there. So yeah, the next time you play one, don't get frustrated. Learn maybe what their weakness is. Maybe they got a really terrible backhand, and maybe aim for the backhand. But my advice on this, and again, another video, but we will go to net. Figure out how to get into the net and put the ball away. Either mid court, 3/4 court in. Figure out how to get to the kill zone. That's a voluntary thing. Get to the kill zone and put the ball away. But I'll rewind this for a second. But answer the question first. In order to beat those people, you've got to be on their level somehow, right? And that level is so simple. Get the ball in play. That's level 1 consistency. And once you get there, tennis will start being a lot more enjoyable when you play people like that. You won't be frustrated.